It's a gamified savings account where instead of earning interest, you're earning sport picks. And those sport picks come in the form of what looks a lot like a parlay. And if those 3 picks you get every single day happen, you get money. When those 3 picks miss, you lose nothing because it was just that opportunity cost of interest you're foregoing.
Hey, this is Jesse here, and you're about to hear episode 162 with Owen and Oisin from Layup, which provides a gamified savings product that turns interest into free sports picks. Recorded in person at last month's Next.io summit in New York City, the guys explain the concept of prize bonds in the UK and Ireland and how they're adapting it for the US market. They also talk about how the mechanics of the product make it closer to FinTech than sports betting, the challenges of educating the market with a value proposition that can sound too good to be true, current efforts to raise a round of growth capital, the role of Layup in the responsible gambling conversation, and why they liken it to a non-alcoholic beer alternative for the sports betting space. The concept behind Layup is a truly unique one, and I think you'll agree after hearing Owen and Oisin break it all down. Optimove is the #1 CRM platform for the iGaming industry, and Optimove Ignite Plus is its program to support early-stage iGaming startups. If you're attending SBC Americas in Fort Lauderdale on May 13th to 15th, come visit the Optimove stand to learn more about how Optimove Ignite Plus can accelerate your startup's marketing efforts. You can find Optimove at stand D540 and tell them that Betting Startup sent you to receive your first month free.
All right, back here on the Betting Startups podcast. We are sitting in the Convene in New York for the next New York City Summit. To my right, we have Oisin and Owen from Layup. Gents, how are we doing today?
Doing great. Thanks for having us.
Fantastic.
Excellent. You guys are local in New York, yet you both have Irish accents. Tell me about that.
So I grew up in America. Actually, this is very corny. Parents met playing baseball in Central Park.
Okay.
There you go. But my family moved over to Ireland.
It's very wholesome.
Isn't it? And then my family moved over to Ireland when I was pretty young. Went to college there, met Oisin, and then we started a business, and now we're here.
And as I'm sure you can guess by my name, I just grew up in Ireland and I'm Irish. So yeah, met Owen in college and moved over here about 5 months ago with Layup.
Awesome, guys. Well, let's start with just some bit more expansive introductions and talk about your backgrounds. Owen, let's start with you. Give us a sense of who you are and kind of what you've done prior to starting Layup.
There's some stuff we've done together, which is a big inspiration. I'll quickly pivot to that. But besides that, I used to work at the dating app Hinge, and I've worked in tech for a while, software engineer by trade, computer science and business. But something that's relevant to both Oisin and I's background and how we got into what we're doing today is, for the love of sports in general, we built a fantasy Premier League app together. It's a lot of fun. If you play fantasy NFL, you know it goes for 17, actually 16 game weeks. Fantasy Premier League goes for 38. So about 16 weeks in, you still know you lost. And what our app did is it basically gave you ability to do like a cup or a new type of competition within it where you're kind of reset from the same level. You still had your same team and all that type of stuff, but you had another chance to win. And it worked pretty well. It was pretty fun. We didn't really monetize it that well, but it was a big inspiration for how we got to what we're doing.
Basically, it was a way when we were doing bad in fantasy to reset the clock and go again because we really love this stuff, but maybe we weren't the best fantasy players. So we both studied, I studied computer electronic engineering in Trinity, studied computer science and business. We used our skills to excel ourselves in the world of fantasy at the time. And
that's kind of no cheating, I promise.
What became of that project? I mean, as you guys say, like that space is tough. It's fun to build an app and in the space you're passionate about, but as you said, Owen, like notoriously difficult to scale and monetize. Just tell us a bit more about like that journey and I guess, what led to the end of it, which I guess created an opening to start Layup.
Well, to be honest, it's way dumber than that. Actually, it worked really well. At least personally, I was just like so in computer science mode and not thinking about business mode.
Yeah.
I really just enjoyed building it. And then essentially at a certain point, started to hear more about how this legislation we grew up with in Ireland became legal in America. And then that got the wheels spinning on, wait a second, maybe we could use some of the lessons we learned from building this product and apply it to this product that we are using in America and make something that's even better and more effective. If I was really smart, this shows you how little business savvy I had at the time. I was just building it because, we were building it because we loved it. I would have kept that name, would have kept all the users, transferred it over, and then just pivot that in and say, hey, I got this much growth XYZ already. But that's not what we did, but we're still working for it today.
There were interesting parts of that journey, just besides us maybe not monetizing it so much, because I remember, we were really hacking this together, pulling data from the Fantasy Premier League's website so we could make these mini leagues. And Owen came up with the idea of, why don't we just make a mini league for everybody on the Fantasy Premier League Reddit? We were like, this is, a hidden hope of, can we grow this? Next thing, 20,000 people on this thread talking to us. I'm in work and Workday. I worked as a software developer before there. And I was talking to a friend of mine who plays Fantasy too. And he says, I'm after joining this really cool, it was mid-season, I'm after joining this really cool product. It was on the FPL Reddit. And I turned to him and I was like, it's me and my friend Owen. We're making this from our home in Drumcondra or wherever it was at the time. But there's little cool things like that. And I guess there was little lessons along the way of maybe the little experiments you can do to really drive growth and stuff like that. Yeah. Because we didn't put any money into acquisition. It was just kind of creative thought and enthusiasm for the problem, But it was fun.
That's cool, guys. Obviously, that was a bit of a springboard, I guess, to continue to work together and now building Layup. And Owen, you and I met, 2 or 3 years ago at an SBC event. You were one of the finalists in the first pitch competition. And I remember at that time being pretty compelled by what you had to say up there. I admit I didn't fully have my head wrapped around the story. And then I hadn't heard about you guys for a couple of years until recently. And all of a sudden you've sort of re-emerged and the story's a lot more crisp now. So let's talk about the origins before we get into where you're at today. How did you guys get together on this project, I guess coming out of the fantasy football product, and sort of what were the origins of this particular journey you're now on together?
Our product is all about giving people safer ways to play. Sports gaming has absolutely blown up in America. And respectfully, half of the practices we see here are illegal in Ireland. And we know that from some cultural experience. Of course, we're a more regulated society. But this thing that we're basing our product on is based off a thing you can buy in any post office from Athlone to Cork in Ireland. In Ireland, it's called a prize bond. In the UK, it's called a premium bond. And Oisin, why don't you tell them about your experience with them?
Yeah, so prize bonds, as they're known in Ireland, it's a saving mechanism. So you save some money, and instead of earning interest on that money, you get lottery tickets. But what's funny about them over there is people get them as early as their first birthday, which in my case I did. So this business journey, we like to say sometimes very cordially, is started on my first birthday. Mine. But there's Harvard peer-reviewed studies to show that this reduces lottery spending because you're basically getting the lottery for free, or that's what it feels like. You save some money, that money saved is always safe, and as a reward you're getting lottery tickets.
Instead of interest, basically.
Got it.
We'd built this Fantasy Premier League application and we kind of just stole, scraped, and hacked together data to make a brand new product on top of it. And we were like, wait a second, we can do the exact same thing again for, essentially sports betting.
Yeah.
Why can't we use this thing that we grew up with, that we have such a deep cultural understanding for, and this experience of how to build a sports product that people want and create a sports gaming. It's not technically sports gaming, we're actually a FinTech product. It's called Prize Link Saving is the concept, and it's been federally enacted in 2014 under the American Savings Promotion Act. But why can't we just combine these two things to make a sports product that has all of the excitement in winning that you can get on, if you're going to go bet somewhere else. But the worst thing that can ever happen to you is you end up saving money. And that's really kind of the origin of it. It was just those two things in parallel, cultural understanding, seeing this crazy boom in sports betting in America and realizing that we could actually do something in this space.
And I think even as an extension of that, the cultural understanding, which it isn't here yet, but I said, you give it to 1-year-olds over there. I saw a video online the other day of a little girl saying, what does she do with her pocket money in the 1970s in the UK? She said, I buy food for my hamster and I get premium bonds. That shows. And then you kind of even go further than that. Yeah. There's 22 million people who have this instrument in the UK. There's $159 billion invested in it. It's very normal over there. And
it'd be the 20th largest bank in America.
Interesting, okay.
We could, I suppose, see the potential and the pathway of a product like this, especially, we've said this before, when you look at some sports bettors, they even call parlays lottery tickets. So from us, we could just see the crossover, and we probably saw the potential of that product, which motivated us to say, you know what, this really can work. This can be a product that takes off over here.
And let me just clarify that in that thing real quick. So what our product is, it's completely standalone. I literally have an operator pass, which is crazy, but it's a FinTech product. And the way it works is it's basically a if I was telling it to a FinTech investor, it's a gamified savings account where instead of earning interest, you're earning sport picks. And those sport picks come in the form of what looks a lot like a parlay. It's not technically a parlay, but it looks like that. And if those 3 picks you get every single day happen, you get money, just like you would normally expect. But of course, when those 3 picks miss, you lose nothing, because it was just that opportunity cost of interest that you're foregoing. And why this works so well with people who are doing, lottery to premium bonds or, sports, particularly parlay betting is what we're tackling.
Yeah.
To Layup is that if you're willing to lose like $1,000 a year on parlay bets, we're giving you that process for free. You don't have to lose the money, you can still get the action. And of course, does it exactly replace your parlay betting? Probably not, but it can help you on a Tuesday or a Wednesday when it's some ice hockey game you don't care about, and now you've actually got some action, something to root for, and that might save you $5, $10, $20, $50 over and over again over the course of the year. That's one thing, but because it's saving, it's over the course of a lifetime, and now that's really something.
So there's lots to unpack here. Super interesting concept, and I love the fact that you've taken like what's a cultural institution from the UK and Ireland and bringing it to America. But it's a unique concept here, right? So it might take a minute for the audience to get their heads wrapped around. Owen, when you talk about, I guess, the gameplay and the user experience, talk more about what users are seeing, right? You said there's what resembles, I guess, to the untrained eye, what looks like a parlay, multi-leg selections. Are people building their own parlay? Are you pre-populating a ticket for them? Give us a bit of a sense of what that looks like.
Essentially what happens is every single day, you'll have picked what game you want to watch, and then it has to be chance-based in our product. You can't pick. We send you what looks like a 3-leg parlay. So it would be the most fair lines you can find. So over, under, the spread, and then one other fair thing that's appropriate, essentially. It's random if you get the over, the under, or the cover, the spread or not, or the other side. But it kind of just takes all of the effort out of it, and you just get something every single day. It's chance-based, 3 picks, that's it.
All right, and then to continue on that, just to unpack the mechanics a little bit here, the individual legs have, fair market odds assigned to them. If all of them hit, you get a payout. What's that payout based on? 'Cause there's no money being risked per se. Is there a fixed amount of interest per day? Like, run us through, I guess, the math a little bit here just to understand it.
Let's just say in a hypothetical scenario, and this is a close approximation of how it works. You give us money, all of that money, we're not even holding it. We work with NBKC Bank, remember FDIC, to run our product. They pay us an interest rate. It's technically not an interest rate again, but it's equivalent to an interest rate on those deposits. Let's say like 4%. We take 3% of that, and we use that to fund your picks, essentially.
Sure.
We take the 1% as our revenue. So let's just say every day you're earning 10 cents of interest. 10, 1 in 8 chance of happening, so you're gonna get a chance to win 80 cents. Doesn't sound like a whole lot. But the magic of how it really works in operation is if you hit multiple days in a row or multiple days in a week, it goes from being like, hey, I'm gonna potentially win 80 cents to win like $50,000, which is a much more exciting thing. So you're getting these small little chances to win smaller prizes, but if a few string together, it goes from cents to, a few dollars, tens of dollars, hundreds, thousands of dollars, really, really quick, essentially.
And I think one thing it's synonymous with in my head, and maybe this isn't something we're totally comfortable saying out loud, but we can cut it if we need to. It's like a lottery ticket. You have 7 numbers on a lottery ticket, and if you get 3 right on the lottery ticket, you're getting a payout. You get 4 right, you're getting a bigger payout. 5 right, if you get it all, you're getting the jackpot.
That's exactly correct. Yeah. Because prize-linked saving and the concept, it's a responsible alternative to the lottery. The Discord communities I frequent, people post their 12-leg parlays, and they literally type in lottery ticket. We're not coming up with it, and it's the same type of skewness that makes the whole product work. So small prizes and bigger prizes too.
And then when people do, if they do win 80 cents, or if they, string together a series of wins and get the bigger jackpots, where is that money going to? Is that just being deposited back into their savings account? Is that
okay? Exactly? Yeah, which means you're earning more interest and getting, or earning more better, more expensive picks and getting more and more and compounding. There's no magic to what we're doing. It's actually just a compound interest, but with so much more fanfare. There is more to it. There is actually some magic to what we're doing. I won't take that back. But we had to fight hard for that magic. But from a financial institution perspective, it's just a savings account with a variable rate of compound interest. That's what it is. From a product perspective, it's parlays, but free, essentially.
Yeah.
So you said a couple times now, Owen, this is a fintech product first as opposed to a pure gaming product. You're not a licensed operator. You're not in the business of being an operator. Just talk more about, I guess, how it's packaged up and what makes it subject to, I guess, more traditional banking regulatory frameworks as opposed to real money gaming.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's pretty simple. Just like sports betting has different states doing state-by-state legislations of sports betting. The American Savings Promotion Act, which is the federal enactment of prize and saving in America, was brought into law in 2014, completely bipartisan legislation, went from all the way Texas state legislator, House, Senate, signed into office by Obama. The government wants this. But they said then it's up to each state to ratify their own version of it. And basically each state that's done it so far, it's provisions that essentially you're regulated by the banking departments, not by the gaming department. And then you have a series of things that say this is exempt from lottery law over and over again. So that infers a lot of our decisions that we make as well. But that's kind of the reason why it is fintech, because who regulates us? The banking and insurance department. That's the person who will be looking at us.
So the audience here from a sports betting perspective will be pretty familiar with the fact that on a state-by-state basis, the regulatory frameworks are quite different for sports betting depending on which state you're in. What's it like on the banking side, right? Do they vary wildly between states? Or is there generally, harmony between the states? I see you giggling a little bit. What's
just as horrible?
I think you could guess.
I would say skewed to people who have unlimited money, which is some of my interpretation of the other state-by-state legislations. But yeah, there's a bunch of intricacies. It's pretty frustrating on some levels. One thing, I was making a point of a very small TikTok where I talk about, some gambling legislation, stuff like that, because, we have a perspective of coming from a place where we've seen what a lifetime and generations of sports betting looks like. One of the points I was making on my video was, if I wanted to start a sports book in Ireland, there's just one place to email and send your application. If you want to start, we're not a sports book, if you want to start in here, you have to do that, 33 or 38 states or something like that?
Something like that, yeah.
You have to do that X amount of times. Same stuff applies for prize link saving here too. So it is absolutely a frustration to deal with, but it's important to do hard things too.
And where are you guys at from a go-to-market perspective? Are you live in a certain number of states? What's, I guess, the rollout been like?
To fill in the cracks, we are live in 48 out of 50 states, but to fill in the cracks, we use sweepstakes laws and the ones where they're not as friendly just yet. We're live, we're growing. You can download the product right now. Layup, go to our website, please. We'd recommend it. Yeah, and we're growing pretty well and things are good.
And talking a bit about the traction then, you sort of alluded to it, Owen. You guys are live, you're getting downloads, people are using it. What's been the experience just getting the message pushed out there on the marketing side, right? You're doing probably a little bit of educating of the market with this new concept, which again, to you guys from Ireland is not a new concept, but for Americans, it probably is. Talk about just that component, going to market, telling the story, and just making people aware of it, and sort of how the uptake has been on the back of that.
I think really when it came to marketing at the start, and we've said we're technical founders, we have a tendency to tell everybody the intricacies of how cool things are, but that's not actually what they really resonate with. So I headed most of our marketing in the last 5 months, and we got people in the door via affiliates and things like that. The messaging was wrong, but as soon as we started getting people in the door, we made sure to talk to them. See what, the people who are giving us signals that they enjoy the products by looking at data analytics and stuff like that. We were looking at them under the microscope, talking to them, trying to hear what they said over and over again, and then changing our marketing accordingly. And really what we heard over and over again, it makes complete sense when you say it out loud, but we'd hear guys saying call after call now. When my picks miss, I don't lose anything, or when I lose, I don't lose. The cultural understanding with losing in a bet, or what looks like a bet, is that I've lost money and I should feel bad about that. But for these guys, they were coming to us and saying, I'm getting this experience. It feels like I'm just getting it for free because I get to watch and see if my game comes off, and if it misses, I don't lose anything. And that's kind of it makes sense now. That's the majority of the feedback we get now. And with our marketing now, that's almost front and center. We try to say to you, there are no cost picks. When your picks miss, you lose no money, and that does take a second, but as we're starting to see some traction and get some momentum, people are telling each other. You're getting the backup of the public, or people can look you up and they can actually see the reviews. This isn't, this is what it says it is. I'm sure when premium bonds and prize bonds started, they maybe had something similar, except they were backed by a state. But it's starting to grow, and that's usually our headline in our marketing.
And if I could add as well, actually our biggest problem is people think we're a scam.
Yep, I was going to say, it sounds too good to be true, right?
It's like, hey, literally you can win money, but you can't lose money. Yeah, sure, right, okay. Everybody's trained to look for where they feel like there's some sort of taking advantage, it's just interest. But the other thing that's been really huge is basically just regurgitating that message as much as you can get. You get a certain character from that too. But the other one is there's so many people in this country right now who are fed up with some of the crazy sports betting. Yeah. It is I don't have to prompt somebody to hear somebody talking about it at a bar or anything these days. I think New Jersey just came out with a poll, I think I saw it today, 76 of New Jersey residents want to reduce the amount of sports betting advertising there is. There is a very palpable wave of a tide starting to return, or I don't know if it's turning it. It's going to be there, and that's where we are. With the industry in general that we're kind of in, we're kind of out of as well. I think a lot of people, even like yourself, are excited to amplify a message of hey, there are actually things happening that are better than a gambling hotline and a notification in an app that can actually not solve the problem of sports betting. There's no solving. It's not even a problem on that level, but round out the experience of users. So that's how we've gotten some free press, and there's a lot more free press to be had out there. And earned media is a big part of the benefit of doing something the opposite to everybody else.
Well, it's a good story to tell, and I'm not surprised you're getting some of that earned media as a result.
You get some very good customers from that too as well. It's more than just that. It's actually something that people like and will save with us based on.
So how do you guys make money? I'll take a guess. I actually won't take a guess. I have my thoughts about it, but why don't you tell us and tell the audience a bit about how you guys monetize all of this and where the business model is for Layup?
Yeah, so it's a margin on the interest rate I'm talking about. Again, just percentage of that. And if you hit the scale of premium bonds, 20 would be 20th largest bank in America. That'd be 1.5 billion net revenue in current interest rate environments. So there's plenty of money to be made. But then there's way more ways to do that. Everything from advertisement, or we have some ideas for spend programs too. And the way we rationalize all this is basically if we can get you to either save the money you would have gambled, or instead of gambling your grocery money, buy them to get your gambling experience. Yeah. That's still better, because that's actually utility for you and not going to a FanDuel, DraftKings, or whatever, fill in the blank person as well. So there are many ways to do this, but we kind of just have one guiding core belief and mission, and we essentially are building our product on the principle of not letting you ever lose your principal. Yeah. As long as you're using the money for something useful, we're good with it, and and we could offer that. But if it's ever we're taking from you, then something's gone wrong.
Got it. And you guys announced, I don't know if it was last year or the year before, you can tell me, but you guys did announce a fundraise to help capitalize all of the regulatory approvals, the building the technology, doing everything you guys have been doing. Why don't we start with a quick backgrounder on the funding to date, and then after that we'll talk a bit about what's coming up next.
We raised a pre-seed round a few weeks after SVB crashed, which was crazy. Absolutely crazy. I had a call with one investor, and I've never seen a man look more disheveled the following week. Oh my gosh. But we got there. Family office of Discover Card, Chicago Ventures, and a few very good angels who helped us get over the line. Then first thing we had to do is we had to get a partner bank to work with to offer the savings program. Yep. That takes a while, especially when you're pitching them on, hey, it's kind of sports related, it's kind of not, and you can see how it'd be of risk officers. A lot of people would dismiss you out of hand, but once they get talking to you and they understand who we are and what we're coming from.
It's one of the difficulties of being a first of its kind, what I mean? They've never heard this before, and they're bankers, so they're looking at you sideways.
And as cute as Oisin's face looks with his little prize bond, it still takes a lot of work and effort.
So we send you that picture as well.
Yeah. We got launched in September, had a bunch of stuff we built and we didn't need because we were just kind of twiddling our thumbs for a little bit, fixed the product, and now going into kind of a fundraising round about now. And
I think right before you sat down for this conversation, you were on an investor call. I know you're running around the conference here today and tomorrow talking to potential investors. Tell us a bit about just this current round that you're looking at raising. And, I guess part B to that question, Owen, your FinTech product sounds like your current backers come more so from the banking and financial industry as opposed to the real money gaming industry. Yet here you are at a real money gaming industry conference, taking investor meetings. Talk a bit about number one, just like the current fundraising efforts. What are you looking for? And more specifically, what is it you see in potentially bringing gaming-focused investors onto your cap table?
Essentially, we have had FinTech investors, and I think gaming-focused, and also another one that would be a home run for us would be sports teams, that type of category too. I mean, those guys are making so much more money now at the cost of their fans, and we can help them give their fans also something that can help them and get the same entertainment too. The way I look at least is it'd be good to have a wider network of people we can rely on for information, facts, and experience than just FinTech as well. And the round itself is going quite well. I'm not going to name any numbers, but money is coming. So yeah, we're in a good spot, and I'm going to be meeting with some other, gaming investors here during the course of this conference, and anyone as well at this time.
When you guys close the round, secure the bag, what are you really focused on as your next set of milestones with those proceeds? What's this money going to go towards?
Yeah, so I think really it's just sports gaming companies have notoriously high CAC. We want to prove that products like ours can get some really, really low CAC. And once we prove that, we feel like we can really, really step on the gas. And we're seeing that because, as we've said it, we feel like I'm a broken record, but people don't feel like they're not buying anything. They're getting it for free. The reason why it reduces maybe lottery spend in the UK is because someone says, why would I walk into the shop and buy that when it's actually just coming from me leaving some money here and I'm getting that entertainment value. And I think once people get that, and once there's a cultural understanding of that, and a bit more enough of a critical volume to have that catalyst effect where it just starts to turn.
Yeah, that's pretty much it.
I think that will result in the lower CAC, and we're starting to see that already. It's easier to refer someone to a product when you're not going to lose money from this. When your picks miss, you don't lose anything. People can get behind that message. They do in the UK, they do in Ireland, and we just think it's a matter of time. It's just a question of getting out there and getting into the...
Yeah. We have some ideas for global domination, but they all hinge on this question being resolved first, and we would like to not dilute ourselves as much yet, raise at a better valuation for the next round. But for anyone who speaks first, you'll hear about those plans as well. But especially when, if you ask me, this market is solidifying ever more rapidly every day, and you could say it's almost over for a lot of companies too, like what's happening with the ESPN bet. I think we might have a different point of entry that could do some damage, but it all comes down to that question first.
Got it. Little thought exercise here, guys. You're looking into a crystal ball. Say we have one right in front of us here. 5 years into the future, in your wildest dreams, where's the Layup at that time, and what does life in the world look like for you guys?
Obviously we're coming from a place where the legislation exists in Ireland and in England. I would love to push this more globally, but first things first, concentrate on the US, concentrate on that cultural understanding, and actually really bring this to the people. Owen spoke about some sort of spend programs where people can use, can spend on their Uber and get some sort of reward with those to enhance their experience. Really just bring that cultural understanding, bring another player to the market, and just be pronounced in that market because there is an opportunity for people to play these games. I absolutely love sports. I love excitement around it. Yeah. If we can bring it in another way, because people are going to play anyway, and give people that other option, that non-alcoholic beer option in when you go to the bar, that in 5 years' time, if we're doing that, that's really good for me. And then looking to the stars, then it's probably setting this up in Ireland, setting this up where I'm from, and showing that you can do that there as well, because this has worked elsewhere. I would love to do that.
I think it'd be great to be known as the people who actually made responsible gaming real. I think we have an opportunity to create as big of a wave as, as you say, non-alcoholic beer for sports betting or compared to alcohol itself. So I think that would be ultimate satisfaction and gratification from that outcome.
Love it, guys. We're going to finish up here today with some rapid fire questions, quick answers from each of you. I'll start with you, Owen. When you get up in the morning, what's the first app you check on your phone?
Layup, and that's not even a joke. But that's also because I'm like, holy shit, do we have a bug? I just want to make sure before anyone else wakes up. But that's, yeah, for sure, first thing I look at.
Boring, but the exact same player, and it's for the exact same
I
reason.
suppose that's the right answer in fairness.
As engineers, we can actually fix it quickly before you notice.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
All right, I'll let you guys have that one. You're in the karaoke lounge. What song are you singing?
Eye of the Tiger.
Nice.
Vanessa Carlton, 1,000 Miles.
Okay. Yeah. We'll head out tonight. We'll make it happen.
Yeah.
Last one here, guys. If you could be somebody else for one day, who would it be and why? Jump ball here for whoever wants to take it first.
Rory McIlroy.
Yeah.
I love golf, so I would
Nice.
like to be hitting bombs on the golf course somewhere in Florida right now. That's
That's a good life.
I think it would have to be like an amazing footballer. That would have to be it. Maybe like a Messi when he was in his prime. That
Peak
would
Messi.
you'd have
Yeah,
to
yeah,
just to see what that
just
feels
have
like.
the skills, you
Yeah.
know, like just be able to go out there for a day and really show off.
But I gotta say, these were the top two most generic sports guy answers you've probably given so far. You know?
Yeah. There's nothing deep there. It's like we like sports.
No, I wish I could get my hand to get down. You know?
There are no wrong answers here. For people that want to get in touch with you guys to discuss anything in terms of partnerships or synergies based on what they've heard today and or check out the product itself, quickly plug how they can best do all that.
I think it'd be easier to email me than try to figure out how to pronounce your
So,
name.
yeah, I
or
was gonna
spell it.
say.
So you can just email me at owen@trylayup.com. That's trylayup.com. OWN.
You can catch us on LinkedIn as
Yeah.
well.
Yeah.
Just under
Catch us
Layup
on
and-
LinkedIn,
Yeah.
you
And
know.
then as well, trylayup.com is the website.
Probably also some dive bars in the East Village
Yeah.
if you want to stop by there.
Also, as well, you can, if you go to the App Store, download the app, and you sign up, you can actually schedule an interview with the
Yeah.
founders
There's
as
a
well.
button
You got
there
there's a
too,
direct line.
No way.
Yeah,
for sure.
If we get an
So-
investor call that way, it would be interesting.
Well, look, guys, I appreciate you taking some time out of your schedule here during conference week to sit down and chat. Love what you're building. This is truly unique. I love the way you're thinking about it and wishing you guys all the best on the journey here. Look forward to following the story.
A pleasure. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thanks for having us.
The Betting Startups podcast is presented by Optimove, the #1 CRM marketing solution for the iGaming market. 4 out of the top 5 US operators personalize player experiences with Optimove. Learn more about Optimove by requesting a demo at optimove.com/bettingstartups. And if you like what you see, you'll get your first month free.